how's it going? It's Friday. Hope you're going to have an amazing weekend. Here we are at SMG Viewers Comments, episode number 214. This is my weekly show where I answer your comments and questions to the best of my ability. If you've got a question you need an answer to about recording, leave a comment below, and if it's cool, I will try and put it on the show. Anyway, let's get right to it.
Which would be better for a gigging musician? Boss Katana Head or Line 6 HX Stomp with a power amp? Any recommendations?
Well, I think either one's going to be fine. You know, I demoed the Boss Katana 100 there last year, and I thought it was a great little amp. It didn't weigh a lot. You know, it was super portable and had a ton of effects and other stuff you could load up with it. And I thought it was super versatile. That being said, the Line 6 Helix stuff is really cool, and I've heard some great things about the HX Stomp. I should probably do a Fearless gear review on one at some point. I will say this, the HX Stomp with a power amp is exactly what my very good friend Trey Xavier from the Gear Gods channel is using for his band In Virtue. At least I think that was what he was using last time I spoke to him. Anyway, is a HX Stomp and a power section because it's super small and portable and just gives you a huge variety of tones and killer sound to work with. So yeah, that might be very much in your interest. Tell you what, I'm going to put some links in the description below. You can check out a few prices and see what works best for you. Best luck to you, dude.
Man, I had a recording job for a group of kids that took 10 hours just to put down a quick demo of a 3-minute song. Just drums, 2 guitars, a bass, and a keyboard section and vocals. Most of the time was taken up by the drummer not being able to play to a click or without the rest of the group playing. In this take, it was actually the bass player that did their part quickly and well. So far, I've been disappointed with the lack of talented musicians who come into the studio. I'm glad I'm not the only one with such a problem.
Oh, you're going to find lousy musicians are going to be what you record more of than not. It's the talented bands that come in that are super fucking rare. You know, I remember when I first started my studio, the first band I had come in was a group called Problem to the Solution, and they came in and they kicked ass, and they were great, and I thought it was going to be like that. It was fucking downhill from that point forward. Here's the thing I recommend, especially when you're recording new bands and maybe kids who haven't recorded in the studio before, is have a meeting beforehand so you can explain to them what's to expect and what's expected. In the case you had where the drummer couldn't play to a click, I might have just turned the click off and had him track to a guitar player or something like that, and then have everybody layer their takes over that. Might have sped up the whole process. Or a guitar player and a bass player, something like that, because you can record that stuff direct and have them out in the room with the drummer so they're all interacting off each other. You can record the guitars through, you know, a software amp sim or something like that, so the drum mics aren't picking anything up. Your job as a producer is to be flexible enough to work with anybody in any situation. So maybe think outside the box next time something like that comes up and try and work to the drummer's strengths instead of forcing them to do something that he might not have ever done before. That being said, if you have a meeting, you can ask, hey, have you ever played to a metronome before? And if he says no, you can say, hey, well, here's an idea. Why don't you download a metronome app and hook up your phone to your band's PA so you guys can all jam along to a metronome. It's going to make you far tighter.
Could you potentially do a series where you talk about your favorite records, like the recording process and fun facts and stuff like that? I remember one time you told us about the recording of Number of the Beast and the Scream and shit. I thought that was kind of interesting. I would love to hear more like that.
Dude, I would absolutely love to do more of that. The only problem is because of YouTube's strict copyright regime right now, I don't think I could do that and, you know, maintain my income, because that stuff would get immediately copyright striked, no matter the fact that it's educational in nature. Record companies aren't making a lot of money off of selling records these days, so they're trolling YouTube looking for anything they can take other people's money for. Fair use does not matter on YouTube. If somebody working for a record label sees something they think they own, doesn't matter the context, they're going to claim it. Now, I'm not saying that's never going to happen. I'm just saying right now I'm going to need some help to make that happen. So if you guys want to check out my Patreon, perhaps help make this show a possibility, that'd be really fucking awesome. Also, you can keep the show censorship free by joining the Spend a Buck, Give a Fuck campaign. Link in the description below, patreon.com/SMG. It's also super cool because we hang out on Sunday afternoons and do Discord sessions where we listen to each other's mixes and give tips and pointers and help each other out with signal chains, that kind of thing. It's actually a lot of fun, and there's only about 10 or 15 of us right now. It's not like, you know, one of my live streams where you got 400 people all doing comments at the same time. It's a little bit more civil, a little bit more slow down. We can get a little bit more in depth. So if you want to get some help on your mixes, definitely check out our Discord sessions through Patreon.
Hey Glenn, I have a question. I want to buy the Joyo Zombie and the Harley Benton. My question is, should I buy a 1x12, 2x12, or a 4x12? I want a cab that's loud for live and great for the studio.
Well, it just so happens I shot out 4 different cabinets with Phil McKnight at TGU, and if the video's not up already, it should be up by next week. I'll have a link to it if it's up in the description below. You can follow that and you can see which one sounds the best. Personally, I really like the vertical 2x12. It's loud as fuck and sounds absolutely stellar. I don't know what the hell they did, but boy, did they ever do a good job with it. 4 speakers are obviously going to give you more volume. I don't know what your priority is. But the other thing is that vertical 2x12 is actually beveled, so it will project sound. Might be exactly the thing you're looking for. And just for the record, if any of you guys out there don't know what the hell I'm talking about, Thomann has their own brand called Harley Benton, which makes these amazing guitar cabinets that are loaded with real Celestion vintage 30s and are super affordable, and they're super cheap to ship to the States. It costs like 35 or 50 bucks or something like that. They can ship everything but the full-size 4x12. So if you want to get your hands on a stellar guitar cabinet that's going to be about half the cost of what you can find in the US, definitely check out the Harley Benton stuff.
Pussy melter and cock blocking pedals. Can we have a Triggly Puff tremolo and a virtual signaling vibrato? Maybe a wah wah women wah?
Nah, we've already got an SJW type wah pedal. It's called the Crybaby. Meanwhile, the cock blocker gate is the finest gate pedal I've ever used. And I did a video with Jen Majera from Evanescence. She helped me demo this thing. I'm not sure if that's out yet at this point either. I'm kind of getting ahead of the game with these viewers' comments so I can work on other videos. But if it's not out yet, it'll be out very, very soon and should be available for sale very, very soon as well. It's going to be a limited edition. We're going to be doing 90 days worth of pre-orders. So definitely keep your eyes out for this. If you need a gate pedal, I highly recommend checking this out. It's going to be the best gate you've ever used. Hey guys, by the way, we've got the super cool giveaway with the band Witherfall. You definitely want to check this out. Roll the tape, Alex.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm sitting here in Los Angeles, California with Witherfall. And they're going to be giving away this guitar, which was used on what EP?
Vintage EP, our brand new EP that just came out in March.
So these guys are going to be signing it and giving it away to one lucky winner. So just as kind of a way of saying thanks for being fans. So I'm going to have a link in the description where you can sign up for that giveaway. Good luck.
Once again, anyone can win that autographed guitar no matter where you are in the world. Witherfall will ship it to you if you win. Just follow the link in the description below and sign up.
Got a serious question. Have you ever tracked drums and noticed them going in and out of phase without any kind of irregularity? I brought in a song I tracked over the weekend and saw the 2 kick waves coming in from dual cardioid mics sliding all over the place with respect to the other. The kick mic was a Lewitt DTP 640 Rex, and the 2 elements are supposed to be in phase from the factory, but AutoLine was consistently shifted the track 18 samples or more to get it in phase with track 1, but AutoLine actually made it worse this time. My overheads did the same thing on this project, and OHL is sliding all over the place with respect to OHR. The rest of the tracks seem fine. If they're sliding in and out of phase, then this isn't noticeable. Help!
Well, it's definitely not your Lewitt mic's problem. I think the problem is your clock source. You haven't told me what kind of interface you're using and if you're using more than one interface. Here's the thing, if you're using dual interfaces and you've got, the 2 kick elements coming in on different interfaces, you might want to think about putting them together on one, just so there won't be any drift. The other thing is, I don't know if you're running Mac or PC. It could be, if you're on Windows, it could be Windows interfering with your audio drivers and moving things around. If you're on Reaper, you can set your ASIO drivers to high priority. I don't even know what drivers you're using, dude. So if you're on PC, make sure you're using ASIO drivers and set them to the highest priority possible. And you should probably look up a few Windows tips on how to optimize your computer for audio. I actually put a video out for that a while back that I did as a private email download. Maybe I should bring that back. What do you guys think? Let me know.
And now it's time for the butthurt of the week. Imagine reviewing a practice amp as a recording amp and then throwing it off a building because it doesn't sound good. Pinnacle of idiotic.
Imagine running a recording studio, spending tens of thousands of dollars on top of the line tube amps, and then having kids come into your studio, bringing the aforementioned practice amp and demanding that they make their record with the shitty practice amp because that's their sound. Welcome to the world of recording, pal!
Hi Glenn, have you started working on your new Hackintosh? How you manage it with the new OS? I know you use Always Win OS, and I'd probably be interested to try a Mac OS in the future. What can you told us about?
Okay, judging by that post, English isn't your first language, so I'm gonna let that one slide. Damn, was that ever hard to read out loud, though. Seriously, though, the Hackintosh has been great. Props to my very good friend Alex Nazla from the channel Gear Gods for helping me build that. You know, I was getting pretty good at building PCs, but Alex is just like next level. Holy crap, is he ever good at what he does. Anyway, yeah, the system is brilliant. We built a super fast machine and it's rock solid, hasn't even crashed once yet. So I'm super impressed with it. I'm doing a lot of recording and editing. I'm actually using Reaper on it right now. We've got it just kind of down out of the shot. I'm still offloading a lot of files from my old computer onto the new one, so I haven't quite got the Hackintosh in place yet. I haven't even put the Windows OS on it yet. But gotta say, yeah, for getting work done, it's pretty damn impressive.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I always thought Glenn disliked anything remotely Mac.
Well, for the longest time, yeah, you were absolutely right, because I always thought Macs were super overpriced for the hardware that you got. A lot of guys recommended, hey, you should build a Hackintosh. Hey, you should build a Hackintosh. And once again, Alex Nazla, I gotta thank him for his influence. He's like, dude, I can put one together for you. I'm like, fuck it, you know what? Let's do it. As far as I know, that video's again is not out yet, but we've got a whole video about the process and the parts we used and whatnot. But I gotta say, one of the biggest reasons I built this was because of my very good friend Mike Noonan, who I went to college with. He's now the head of audio production at Bell Globe Media in Toronto. And I had visited him a while back and he said he was working on a Mac, and I'm like, dude, what the hell? Because Mike was the guy who turned me on to PCs way back in the early 90s, because I was a Commodore guy back then. I was using a Commodore 64 and I was looking at maybe getting an Amiga computer. And Mike had suggested, hey, dude, you got to see what you can do with a PC these days. So that really turned me on to the whole PC, because I was really into gaming and flight sims and all that kind of stuff. This is years before I even thought about doing audio production on a computer. So here we are, I don't know, 28 years later or something like that, and I'm working with a Hackintosh because I had asked Mike, well, you're such a big PC junkie, what the hell happened? He said, dude, at this level, you got to get work done. And I can see the wisdom in that. It's like, as I've progressed to doing YouTube 3 shows a week and just doing these more in-depth videos, I simply just don't have time to fuck around with my computer anymore. It just has to work, because I have to do other things like edit and not fuck around with a crashing machine or an OS that's gonna fuck up the audio stream or anything like that. It's gotta work, and it's gotta work right every single time. And so far, the Hackintosh has not given me any grief, so I'm just keeping my fingers crossed, but so far so good.
Hey Glenn, I'm a new subscriber, so I don't know if you said much about them, but what is your opinion on Rickenbacker basses?
You know what? In 23 years of recording, I've never had a single Rickenbacker guitar of any sort come in. Not a bass, guitar, anything. I've only ever seen a Rickenbacker bass once, and that was way back in the 80s. And since then, nope, you really don't find them around the Windsor area whatsoever. So the only thing about as rare as a Rickenbacker has been female drummers, and I finally got one on the show a few weeks back. If you guys check out my Daking preamp demo, Felicity Feline was cool enough to drop by the studio and play the drums, and she did an amazing job. It was super cool to have her on the show. So thanks so much for being on the show, Felicity. You were awesome.
Hey Glenn, I'm 14. I recently got kicked out of a band because the retarded singer's ego is so huge, he can't help but be the best musician in the band. I've been playing for half my life, and I'm renovating a room into a budget home/guitar vocal studio. But the main question is, how do I get gigs and be taken seriously as a young person? Love your vids, man, and stay awesome.
Well, Joe, if there's any advice I can give you, it's this. Your online presence is your resume. So don't do anything too controversial that might cost you a gig down the road. My suggestion would be start making videos of yourself playing, put them up there, and so if people want to know just how good of a musician you are, they've got something they can look up. Best of luck to you, dude.
EMG 8160 or Seymour Duncan Blackouts?
I've never played the Blackouts. I think I should really try those out at some point. I've got no problem with EMGs. I really like them. But then again, I'm a thrash kid from the 80s.
Glenn, am I nuts or logical for considering selling off all of my brass instruments to get a bass saxophone? The techniques to playing them are about as different as, say, guitar and drums. Not guitar and bass, guitar and drums.
Dude, I'm totally not qualified to answer that question. I don't know the first thing about wind instruments of any kind. All I can suggest is this. Pick up a bass saxophone, try it out. Do you like it? Okay then, do that.
Workers in the factories of Japan, Mexico, Germany, UK, China, Indonesia, Korea, Poland, Spain, Czech Republic, Malaysia, or any place in the world where your guitars are coming from are human beings too, and they also deserve to keep their jobs. Greetings from overseas.
I couldn't agree more. That's fantastic. Yeah, you know what? I think there's some amazing guitars coming around from all over the world. My Spectre Hellraiser was made in Korea. It's probably one of the best guitars I've ever owned. My Washburn from 1988 came from Japan. Killer guitar. The Japanese are renowned for their guitar building skills. I've seen some good ones coming out of China. And yes, some good ones. And yes, some amazing ones come out of Europe as well. Guitars don't have to be made in the USA to be great. They just have to be well built.
Cheers, Glenn. Been following your career since Andy Sneap foreign days and never would have ever think that I'd end up in Windsor. Haha. I have a question for you. I've been living in Windsor for 4 years now, and I feel like I haven't gained an inch on my musical career here. I mean, it seems like most musicians don't really care too much here. Asking people to show up on time, if they show up at all quite often, learn the songs, not show up high, know your ABCs, it seems to be a little too much to ask at times. How did you cope with them over the years, or am I living in a different Windsor? Haha. Capri or Antoninos, congrats on expanding into LA, and congrats on making it out alive. Best wishes, Ron.
Well, Ron, now you know what my show's about and what I've had to deal with. It's always fun when, you book a session and the band doesn't show up and doesn't even pay you the courtesy of a fucking phone call. Talk about annoying. I mean, what you're saying is very true. A lot of people, want to be rock stars and not put in the work. And unfortunately, in a small town, that's exactly what you're going to run into. There's a limited pool of musicians, and there's even a smaller pool of people who are going to take it seriously. And it's not just a Windsor thing. It's pretty much small towns all throughout North America, probably the world, is people who want to do the work versus the people who just want the fame and fortune. So I hear you, dude. All you can do is persevere, and whatever you do, don't give up. And as for your pizza question, Capri or Antoninos, actually, I'm more into Armando's. That's kind of my personal local favorite. And for those of you who have never tried an Armando's pizza from Windsor, I really feel bad for you because you're really missing out.
Glad to see my initial post was worthy of being the kickoff topic. When I was making my point, I wasn't really considering the changing or not of changing the performance point, which I more or less agree with you. Rather, I was looking at using IRs as covering for one's lack of knowledge or skill in how to mic a cabinet and even to a lesser degree, how to EQ a cab. My belief is that any chance you get to prevent or at least delay the conversion of sound to ones and zeros should be taken. Even in the case of using IRs to cover up the fact that someone is using crappy equipment, seems like a crutch as opposed to learning how to exploit that crappy sound and to make it into something that sounds awesome in the context of mix.
John, that's fantastic. I'm right with you there, bud. Yeah, that's the thing about YouTube and comments and that kind of thing. Sometimes things, meanings aren't always conveyed over the words. And, with a further explanation, yeah, I'm in total agreement with you there. IRs are great because they can shortcut the whole learning process, but that doesn't mean you should quit the learning process altogether. Learning how to mic up a cab is a skill definitely worth learning. The great thing about IRs is it's going to give you kind of a roadmap, maybe even a shortcut to that process where you can hear what a finished tone should be like. So when you start miking up cabs, you can experiment with how the mic is placed and how the amp is tweaked to get closer to that finished perfect sound.
I don't know what Hasadiga Ibuai means, and at this point, I'm too afraid to ask.
Actually, the phrase is Hasadiga Ibuai, and it's the name of a song from the Broadway play, The Book of Mormon. I highly recommend checking it out and seeing exactly what it means.
I'm so sick of Glenn bad-mouthing religion. By the way, I need a private jet for Jesus, so you can donate to my GoFundMe.
Kenneth Copeland couldn't have said it better himself. That's it for this episode, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Don't forget to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/SMG. Join my Spend a Buck, Give a Fuck campaign and our Sunday afternoon Discord sessions. They're a lot of fun. Oh yeah, and if you want to get your hands on that Witherfall guitar signed by the band, follow the link in the description below. It's absolutely free to sign up for that. Once again, have an amazing weekend, and I am freaking out of here.